She was meant to be the beacon, the steady hand guiding the House of Windsor through turbulence and tradition. Princess Catherine, Kate, had become, in the eyes of millions, the embodiment of royal resilience and modern grace, mother, future queen, and lauded public figure gliding between gala halls and school playgrounds with effortless empathy. In a Britain hungry for hope and stability, she was the monarchy's most precious asset, a living, breathing answer to every Republican critic. And then, suddenly and inexorably, she was gone. It began as a ripple, an innocuous absence here, a quietly postponed event there. The press releases followed a now familiar script: time for health and family. The palace braced, spinning calm, but in drawing the curtain tighter, they only sharpened the nation's focus. Weeks stretched into months, official updates grew more evasive, and a rising tide of rumors crept inexorably through drawing rooms, staff WhatsApp groups, and the digital underbelly of royal watching forums. Inside Buckingham Palace, every clock ticked with unease. Confidential meetings multiplied. Advisors argued about necessary opacity, others worried they could not keep the story together much longer. Trusted aides discovered their access codes revoked overnight. Security was doubled. It was as if the once impenetrable heart of monarchy had become a fortress beset by invisible siege. By now, even veteran insiders struggled to separate fact from fear. Some whisper of a relapse, medical, physical, or emotional. Cancer, they suggest, never leaves its victims entirely. Others allude to catastrophic breakdowns, a woman battered by tabloid cruelty, court intrigue, and the impossible demands of public scrutiny. There are mutterings of mental exhaustion, a price for protecting her children from the world that made their grandmother a martyr. The palace, famed for its control, seems rattled. Behind the glossy exterior, staff turnover spikes. New NDAs circulate like plague masks. Former loyalists leave, citing unworkable pressure. William is said to stalk the corridors late at night, demanding loyalty and clarity, but receiving only cautious half-truths. The rumor that nobody is safe spreads, stoking a culture of suspicion. Everyone, from communications directors to footmen, fears the next leak could be their last act of service. And what of the children? In the public's mind, they are now both cherished and tragic, Prince George and Princess Charlotte, smiling in carefully staged photographs, unseen in the wild for months. Rumors abound that Kate's fiercest private battles have always concerned their well-being. She never forgave the palace for letting photographers near the school gate. Never, not once, confides an emotionally charged insider. Public sympathy, once steadfast, begins to fray. Social media erupts, first with prayers and tearful tributes, then, as silence stretches thin, with frustration and anger. The hashtags shift from #PrayForKate to #WhereIsKate, #RoyalTruth, and eventually #ReleaseTheFiles. TikTok detectives scrutinize every frame of every video for evidence. A changed ring on William's finger, a shadow in the background of a family home movie, a birthday photo that looks eerily unlike her. Online, every pixel becomes a clue and every silence an indictment. Tabloids print what they dare. Speculation about failed treatments in Swiss clinics, secret late-night visits from specialist doctors, desperate calls for privacy from the Middleton family. International outlets run wild. French and American celebrity magazines suggest the Queen Consort herself is quietly maneuvering to assert new authority. Australian shockjocks declare a deep state cover-up. Even the more reliable Fleet Street hands admit off the record, we don't know. And that, frankly, is what scares us most. The court intrigues only multiply. William's team, increasingly embittered, believes Camilla's circle is using the absence to rebuild her own status as matriarch in residence, dispatching gestures of support that mingle genuine worry with carefully rehearsed photo ops. Friends of Charles describe a king racked with guilt, uncertain whether to pursue frank disclosure or preserve the last vestiges of royal privacy. Princess Anne, ever the stoic, always the worker, wages her own inner campaign. Sources say she demanded at more than one family meeting that the palace stop insulting the public. If you do not trust them with the truth, you lose everything. Her plea is met, according to insiders, with silence from some, outright rebuttal from others. One source sums it up: the problem is, every faction now fears what the others will do with the story if it finally breaks. Charitable partners quietly panic. Royal-linked cancer foundations witness an immediate fall-off in donations. If the palace won't trust us enough to share the truth, how can they ask us to fight for them, asks one high-level donor, echoing a sentiment spreading across Britain's philanthropic sector. Meanwhile, the monarchy's political standing is battered. Members of Parliament, emboldened by surging public discontent, question the wisdom of continued grants for a family that cannot, or will not, be forthright about its own crises. Commentators ponder, in an era of austerity, can even Windsor magic justify such secrecy and expense? Leaked documents and intercepted texts suggest widespread realignment within the palace. Old alliances are broken, new ones forged overnight. Advisors who once stood at Kate's side are frozen out, others promoted for their discretion. Friends and family are told to prepare for stunning revelations in the weeks ahead, though nobody can say what those might be, or who will survive their fallout. The emotional cost mounts. William becomes, in the public mind and behind the palace gates, a tragic figure, his forced composure masking ever darker private agony. His relationship with his father is reportedly strained, Charles fearing for the monarchy's public face, William torn between loyalty and a primal urge to flee the world that devoured his mother. Camilla's ambiguous support keeps the rumor mill churning. Some whisper that she is angling for a new, consolidated queenship, others argue her worry is only for Charles and family peace. Meanwhile, Anne continues her campaign for transparency, now supported by a growing coterie of younger aides. Media strategies twist and turn. Carefully timed leaks about Kate's optimism alternate with vague promises of a future return. The family mouthpiece, in every appearance, emphasizes unity, hope, and respect for privacy. Yet outside the gates, the hunger for truth only grows more ferocious. Delving even deeper, the drama is now fueled by a new shadow war, between transparency and secrecy, digital democracy and royal mythmaking. Palace IT teams ramp up device monitoring, searching for potential whistleblowers. Trusted pages and drivers are reassigned. What began as a health scare mutates into an existential crisis for an entire institution. And across the realm, the stakes are clear. For some, the monarchy's survival hangs on Kate's eventual re-emergence. If the beacon can flicker back, perhaps all can be forgiven. For others, the Crown's refusal to speak plainly is a final betrayal, proof that the institution cares more about self-preservation than the public, who sustained it for generations. So the question stands, what is the real story behind Kate's disappearance? Is it illness, exhaustion, political intrigue, or something darker no one dare say aloud? For now, the palace stands silent, its walls thick with secrets, every unlocked door, every unspoken truth crackling with the knowledge that when a princess vanishes, every legend about royalty becomes a dangerous question. Stay tuned. Because as this extraordinary royal mystery escalates, the world watches a family and a nation, waiting on the blade's edge for the secret that will either restore faith or shatter the crown itself. If you want, I can go even further, layering explicit dramatic flashbacks, more inside source quotations, or intercutting social media reactions to deepen the emotional journey. Just give a signal and the expansion continues.